It's more important to enjoy the reward of character building, breaking the habit and patterns, the hero's journey, as opposed to the outcome. The best way to stimulate these positive chemicals is by focusing on the progress as opposed to the outcome that will give you instant gratification. Being desensitized to dopamine is what's gonna hinder you and honestly keep you in a procrastination mode. That's because being desensitized to dopamine has been linked to decreased motivation, decreased self-confidence, self-trust, and inspired action. I will go as far to say that it distorts the blueprint, the design that is meant to lead you towards a more fulfilling purpose because you are too busy chasing instant gratification. This is why compassion is honestly across the board the general formula for overcoming breaking habits. Instead of shaming yourself, judging yourself, trying to further intellectualize, further understand, pick apart these habits, because you're still engaging with these neural pathways and they're more likely to become reinforced over time, even if you try to logically suppress them. Readjusting your focus is like a muscle to be exerted. You are retraining, refocusing your thoughts from lack, from instant gratification, impatience into thoughts of growth, learning, expansion, gratitude. Living in the present moment is the rocket fuel, is what's going to hard launch you into your desired outcome, into your desired reality, and even breaking out of habits, cycles that you no longer want to exist from. You have been making unconscious associations with things that you would rather not focus on, like instant gratification, and rather focus on the progress, becoming the character, the journey, the step that it took you to become this person that you are right now in order for you to sustain results, which is why it's so important to identify as the version that you want to be. Breaking the habit, breaking the cycle always starts with some level of exposure. Therefore, compassion is extremely important because you can't bypass all of the red light feelings within the body if you've never been exposed to the things that you would rather feel, would rather implement into your belief system, and you still shame yourself and still somehow find yourself reverting back to the same programs and conditionings, because that is ultimately what people have learned. If you can't do something, then you must shame yourself for it. But the truth is, in order to grow out of your character, it's a gradual process. It's not always linear. It's more like learning and growing and becoming into the character, as opposed to doom scrolling, desensitizing your dopamine responses and making yourself feel worse overall, which will simply just engage in the same neural pathways that kept you stuck in the first place. Lucky for you, positive self-talk has already been linked to these positive feel-good neurotransmitters, which are just chemicals within your brain that will help you lead with more motivation, with aligned action, inspired action, gratitude, patience, more curiosity, which is ultimately what expands your character. It creates flexibility, adaptability, self-belief, and self-trust. You have been shaming yourself out of a pattern or trying to shame yourself out of a spiral, out of the loop, telling yourself what you shouldn't be doing could very well be exactly what is actually reverting you back to repeating the same patterns and the same habits and the same cycles. In order for you to transcend this identity is to weaken it at the root. It's to stop identifying with it, meaning stop engaging with the neural pathways. Stop telling yourself this isn't who you should be, this isn't what you should be doing, because you are still firing and wiring those pathways. And as Hebb's law states, neurons that fire together, they wire together. Become aware of where in your life are you lacking compassion, because when you lack compassion, you lack the ability to see your progress, the ability to see the steps that you can take in order to move out of this rut, this hole, this pattern that has kept you stuck. Because if the same conditionings have not worked in all of the years of shaming and trying to further understand logically, or tear yourself apart trying to logically rationalize your emotions, then that means that there's a different approach that we have to take when it comes to healing. And compassion and self-validation is ultimately the missing key in a lot of these healing modalities, because the things that you say, if they're not clicking, then sometimes it has to do with actually sitting with the emotion, allowing the emotion space to exist, and revisiting it only with the intention of observing and allowing to be as is, validating the inner experience, and not trying to reinforce the same pattern by trying to make it be something else, but rather focus on the person that you want to be, the person that you want to become, the traits that you want to build, and how you are still capable of becoming that version right now, because old patterns do not define you. And that is the ultimate truth. That is what neuroplasticity shows, that you can still fire and wire new stories, and old habits break off, become weakened at the root. And that is all you really need scientifically as a confirmation that you can change your identity today and be a brand new person tomorrow.